Hello, everybody. Welcome to this overstuffed house. My name is Nancy, and I am tired. So, this is the last live chat of the year, and so I thought I'd be here my usual Thursday night, be live. I try to make sure that happens consistently. Even if I don't get a video out or if I don't get, a work with me on a Sunday, I still usually try to be here on Thursday nights to see all of you. So I keep listening because I know there's a kitten over here. I can hear him. I think he's trying to curl up in a cardboard box over there somewhere. Pretty sure it's Gimli. So, but let me adjust my laptop to live chat. And for those of you who've not seen me before, I have inherited a lot of stuff from several people. And when I was downsized out of a job, I had gotten all 3 storage units down to 1 big one, and then that big one had to come here. So who's coming in the door? Hello, there's Val, and there's Nora. Babies are kind of conked out right now, Val. I made turkey soup today, turkey and rice, and I had made the broth with all the bones. Well, invariably there's always little bits of meat on it, and so I was taking that out and I would shred it up with my fingertips into really fine little bits, so they all got a big, big clump, and so now they're all sleeping it off somewhere. So, hello, Warren. Warren, was Santa good to you? Did he bring you any paper dolls for your wonderful books for teachers? So, I have not found any more here. I know there's a few somewhere. I'll find them yet. So, Linda's here. I was just over at Steph Sells Stuff by the Seashore. They're having a live sale still going on right now. So if anybody wants to shop, but it's okay. By all means, go shop if that's what you want to do. So I don't mind. Because, like me, they're both trying to make a living. So, oh, you're still waiting on a package for my package. Nora, every time I hear about this package, I just have this image in my head that the box is getting like bigger and bigger, and the box is bulging at the sides, and so it's going to explode before it gets here. You keep adding to it. I can't wait to see what this is. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that was the most unsatisfactory cup of tea, because you get down to the last mouthful and you realize you're getting a mouthful of tea leaves. I hate that. That certainly was not a Lipton tea bag, was it? No. Benner? Benner. Yeah, that's some knockoff brand my brother bought. Tea bags they skimp on the tea bags and then they fall apart. My plans for the new year. Well, my plans for the new year are roof, health, Tosh. Roof. We all know there's a problem with the roof. There is, after January 1st, the money will be released by the feds, and Chester apparently has a big chunk earmarked for home repairs for those who are low income. So I am going to put in for that to see if they can help with the roof. So that's the first thing, because it kicks in right after January 1st. So that's going to be the first one. Health and things for this overstuffed house kind of go hand in hand. I've this blasted cyst thing. There's a bunch of little ones, but this one's beginning to like hurt now and then, which means it's making a little dent in the skull. It's gotten so big. So I need to get them taken care of, which last time I had it done was years ago. And I did it at the hospital with a surgeon. And then I found out that if you go to a dermatologist, they can do it right there in the office. So I have to see about that. I had to see about my knee. I had to see about all the other health tests that never happened last year because I had fractured my foot or I had the relapse of the spine. So I've already talked to the spine doctor about the tests, for the tests on my knee, getting that the MRI of the knee done and all that fun stuff. So that's my plan for the coming new year. My plan for the holiday itself is absolutely nothing. I have no plans. Because I'm not going out anywhere. I don't have a car, and that's eventually on the list, but roof is on the list that's the top thing. Getting a car is way down the list of things to get done. So I'm not planning on going anywhere. I mean, honestly, I wish I could have a nice bottle of a slightly sweet white wine and book. Well, I have the book to read. I don't have any wine. And I would just sit there and read, you know. You'd hear all the fireworks going off around here when you hit midnight, and so no serious plans. Mike probably has plans because he's 28, you know. I don't think he's working. I think he's working. I think he might be working during the day, but not at night. So that's the extent of the New Year's, not only the plan for the new year, but the plan for the holiday itself. So, Stacy May, hello, darling. Catitude. My house is full of catitude, and I hear a little jingle bell. Who do I hear? Kitty, kitty. Who is it? Nope, no idea. They're not coming out to see me. And on it, they still, every room they're in, they still play, you know, the floor is lava. They do not walk. They'll walk down the hallway, they walk down the staircase, they walk out in the kitchen. But let them, honestly, the minute they come to see me, they got to play the floor is lava, and they start hopping on things and usually come out up here. Come here. Come on. Come say hello. Come on, Aragorn. Come on. Come here. No? No, you just gotta stare at me. Oh, oh, now that I'm not looking at him, he's gonna show up. See him? There he is. There's Aragorn. Don't you dare eat my snowman. Come here. Come on. I know there's stuff in your way, because. Oh, where are you going? Come here. No? Oh, I'm sorry, Your Highness. Come here. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Come here. Come on. Don't you do that. Don't grab the snowman. I got you, Aragorn. I got you. Good boy. Good boy. Turn around. There you go. You gonna show him your golden eyes? You're not gonna show him your golden eyes? Oh, there you go. Yeah. You don't have those funny cat yellow. You have gold. Yeah. You big boy. You're a big boy. So, where are you going? Go careful. There you go. Up and over careful. Yeah, he's the cuddle bug. You know, he wants to be next to you. A lot of times he wants to be in your lap. I saw online, but they're $40. It's a hoodie, but it has this big pouch in the front for your cat. And then there's a little zipper like down low that's just big enough that they could stick their head through it and see. You can open it up and they can stick their head out and see what you're doing. I so want one of them because I need it for him and Elrond. So, and now he's don't you do that. What are you doing? Stay off the eBay shelf. Don't you do it. Lay down. Good boy. Listen. The eBay shelf over there has a bunch of little porcelain things on it that I need to get listed. But first I need to get my light box because they knocked it over that way. Little suckers. So yeah, so I still have all 5 fur babies. And Mike has kind of decided that should he move out, he wants to take Aragorn and Gimli. Gimli, of course, because that's his cat. But Aragorn, it really is a bonded pair situation, and you don't usually separate bonded pairs. So rubies, yeah. See those a cat backpack would be great. But some cats are too big. Like there's no way the doctor would ever fit in one. Gimli is so close to the doctor's size, he wouldn't fit in one. But like Aragorn might, but Frodo, Arwen, and Elrond, they're all smaller cats. And Elrond's probably gonna stay smaller because he's part Siamese, and they're very kind of lithe kind of cats anyway. And usually they have longer legs, but his legs aren't very long, and they would fit in a backpack. So I was tidying some things up today, and I found a whole packet. Isn't that so pretty? But apparently this had been stationary pack, but that's not what's in here. What's in here is, if I could do this without dropping them, is a bunch of seals. They're all, most of them are Doonesbury, Gary Trudeau's Doonesbury. So apparently, I vaguely remember this. There was a sticker book back when stickers were the kind you had to lick on the back. And it was for the 20th anniversary of Doonesbury, the cartoon or Sunday comic, whichever you want to call it, that celebrated 1970 to 1990. And this was one of the things they put out. Now, I tried finding any remnants of this on eBay and couldn't find it. There's a lot of Doonesbury stuff, but nothing that had, a full one of this book. So I decided that I was going to take what ones were left, because I'm sure this is not all the ones from the book. And so I quick posted it on eBay right after I found it. But then I have to decide, because there's all these other loose ones, I have to decide what I'm going to do with these. A bunch of them are Sierra Club. I think great images. But see, like that's a nice size. And that's, that's the lily pond. There's pond lilies in the front, and they're all growing in the back, and you can see the water in the background. That's a good size to make little framed dollhouse pictures, to make artwork for dollhouses. So I have to see about which ones I'm going to keep. And then I might stick all the others into just put all the others in a little snack bag and sell them off as an ephemera lot. Isn't that a cool picture? Now that one's 1993 National Wildlife Federation. But that's the kind of thing that would be good for that, to make a dollhouse image out of. So that may be coming up. The rate I'm finding little paper things and stuff, there's going to be an ephemera sale a lot sooner than expected. But the Doonesbury one is something so different and more unique that I thought, well, I should just put that online. And see, I have my little snack bags. I'm about out of these because as I've been finding little things, I'm making little packets up. There's even, look, I even saved this. So, sheets of stamps, right? They would have these cool images. Check out those bathing suits. And then it says, like, I think that might be the one for the Roaring 20s. I honestly was nuts. I would save anything to stick it on the back of a pen pal letter just to be interesting. But I have so many stickers, and so many, some of them are so old, like some of the peel and stick stickers. They don't have any stick left, and I have to use a glue stick with them when I put them on the back of packages or use them for decoupage or something. So it's time to share that wealth a little bit. So I found those. I found some quilting magazines too. I found 3 quilting magazines and looked through them and went, you know, there's really not a thing in here that I'm going to actually do. And then there was one that was some kind of sewing, and it's amazing the instructions it has in there for different things, for smocking, how to make these gorgeous kids clothes with all like the Victorian layers of lace. They're beautiful. So I may have to put them in. Any crochet, not knit related ones. Not that I've found yet, but when I haven't gone through them yet, but there was a big pile of, well, there's a pile about 5 inches high of old 1950s McCall's knit and crochet books. The problem with them is they're huge. They are the large size magazine. Magazines are a lot smaller than what they were then. And before I put them into a live sale, I have to make sure that I have an envelope big enough to ship them. What are you doing? I hear it too. It's okay. It's all right. It's probably Shadow going into the little styrofoam cooler. Aragorn is now gone under the desk and up, and somehow is now up on top of the chest of drawers, and he's looking at something out the window. And there's a porch out there, but that's where I have a cooler, a styrofoam cooler that's been modified to be a cat shelter. One thing we are doing tomorrow is we are finally stopping at a friend sent me a wonderful gift of a certain dollar amount to use on the kittens, and so whether it be these guys or the kitties outside, so I'm going to go pick up a bale of hay, bale of straw from one of the local orchards tomorrow. I already called. They sell them year round, and so I will be getting that so I can refill the cat shelter, because I looked in there and what's in there is so packed down that now it's only about 1 inch thick, and it's all kind of pushed in and around this big circle. So the whatever cat gets in there is laying flat on the styrofoam in the middle with maybe about that much straw around the edges. So that's not good. I am happy to say that I've seen the tortoiseshell kitten. I've not seen that gray one again, but I've seen the tortoiseshell kitten. I scared the daylights out of the poor thing 2 days ago. Here it was in the shelter, and I'd been worried because I hadn't seen Shadow during the worst of that cold nights and 12-degree days, and I was getting worried that I hadn't seen him, so I went to check in the shelter, and out pops this feral little kitten, terrified, and so now I haven't seen it since, because that's the one that the doctor was in the yard and she attacked it, so it's just very skittish. It's younger than these guys. It was born probably in August, so it's still half the size of any of these guys. I've seen it with Shadow. I've seen Shadow with it all curled up in the sunlight. So I want to get some straw, because even though we're supposed to get this weird heat wave where by Saturday we're supposed to be in the high 50s, maybe even hit 60. Goofy weather. That seems to be normal around here anymore. Sometime in January, usually in the beginning, we get this weird, really warm, almost like spring, 3 or 4 days, and then we get cold again, and then get crappy weather and usually a little dusting of snow. So it's going to get cold again. So I want to make sure that this time, now that I have the funds to do it, get them the straw into those shelters. And I have another cooler in the basement so that I can now have 3 of them out there. So that be the plan. But I'm being taken out tomorrow, and I don't know why or to where. I got custody of Mike. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was the Sunday before Christmas. That was all I remembered. Until he was about 21, I found some old paperwork, and it actually said the date. So it apparently was 2 days before Christmas. But ever since he was a little kid, we've always done something special on our anniversary, the Sunday before Christmas. Whatever date that would be, it would be the Sunday before Christmas. But this year, Christmas fell on Sunday. So we didn't have a chance to do anything special. So apparently tomorrow he's taking me out for our anniversary. Okay, wait a minute, let me do the math, because he's now turned 28 in August. So our 26th anniversary. So of me being, Aunt Mommy, being his guardian. And kid's been truly blessed. He had 3 parents that loved him very much. So, and I don't doubt that his dad does still love him. But yeah, I mean, it was a sweet thing to do, because I wanted there to be something special for just the 2 of us. So I was raising him. But it also then, like, I was never formally allowed to adopt him, but I did get judge-ordered guardianship. And I made a point of never saying anything bad about his parents in front of him. And then if things happen, it would explain to him that it's not his fault. They don't ever doubt that they love you, but sometimes grown-ups just can't get out of their own way, and they do stupid things. But they do love you. Don't ever think they don't. And I honestly think that's why he's as well adjusted as he is, because he never had any doubts that he never thought for a second he wasn't wanted by any of the 3 of us. So having that special thing where we do our anniversary is a nice thing each year. I found something else. I think I showed these a long time ago, but then I refound them. I've never heard of this brand. Now it says My Dolly, but then this one says My Dolly and Me. But the packaging is both from DBD in South Attleboro, Massachusetts. Doll and bear accessories. So they're necklaces. 2 cameo ones in that, and then what looks like a little gold locket. So I don't know if there'd be interested from you guys for anybody that wanted to buy these, or if I should just go ahead and put them on eBay or Etsy. I tried looking it up on eBay and I'm not finding anything for that My Dolly name. So they must have been something my mother picked up at some point for like American Girl dolls or something. But so honestly, the variety of stuff that I find here is just mind-boggling sometimes. Okay, I want to know who has ever done these tiny little decals for your nails, because I tried doing them and they kind of went crooked. They kind of went crooked. Apparently you're supposed to use teeny little pointy tweezers. I don't have teeny little pointy end tweezers, but I have a pocket knife. Somebody's on my back. Hi. Whoa. You okay? Aragorn, what are you doing? If you're looking for Gimli, you cannot both be in that box. You're too heavy. Where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing? Sir? Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. What are you doing? Now you don't know what to do. What are you doing? You're looking for your brother, aren't you? There's not room in that box for both of you. Don't push on the box, it might fall. He's thinking about it. He went looking for Gimli. Oh, okay. They're done. Yeah, I had told them when I left that it was like, sell to your heart's content, and because mine's just a live chat, and I would send people over, but they said they were probably going to be done because I don't know what happened in the chat, but something happened and it upset Helen. Something had some slang meaning and it got her upset. And that's not okay. I mean, nobody did anything malicious or anything, but it's just it kind of shook her up. I don't know what the word was, but it kind of shook her up a little. What else did I find? So I know Nora's part of the fairy realm. She would have already seen these. Where's the ones I wanted to show you? So this will eventually be, because it's Mary Englebright, it's a card holder. I got this one completely emptied. I just used to carry stuff downstairs. But I did a live for the Fairy Realm members of my channel, and so they got to see all the cards, because I had two of these, one even bigger that's not Mary Englebright, and it's part of the stuff I inherited with the book hoard. Don't bite the box. Oh, he wants to play. It's not even midnight yet. Come on, you're early. Yeah, they're smacking each other through the edge of the box. But I found all these cute little tiny gift card things. This one has a bee skip on it. So you'll be seeing these in packages soon. So it was nice to find those. Found another postcard. But I found, like, this one's a 3D card that opens up. And then there's some cards that I need to look up the artists, because if you have, there are people that collect anything, say anything that's Susan Branch. And so And all the Susan Branch stuff has that as the trademark. I have sold hey, don't rip paper. Oh, now you're in trouble. Hey, hey. Hang on a second. No, no, sugar. Ugh. Hey, cut it out. No, don't rip paper. The claw will come for you. He hates this thing. Oh, look, now I got Elron who thinks this is a toy. So apparently there was a piece of, the bottom of that box, there was a piece of newspaper. Ah, cramp. Mm-hmm. And idiots in there shredding it. I thought you were over that. Oh, get your tail. Get your tail. What? Come on. Come on. You want to investigate, sir? Ah. Now I got 3 of them. Come on. Come here. You gonna come say hello? No? Don't knock my light over. I talked to them, you'd think they'd understand. Ha ha. Oh, you want to come that way? Come on. Come on. Elrond. No, you're going to go up by the light and rub on it. No, no, don't do that. Good boy. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come here. Come on. Oh, come here, little one. Ow! Hey! That was not nice. Shit. You just missed my eyeball. Oh, dang. That hurt. I don't see any blood. What do you think you're doing? I know. No! Cut it out. Ugh, tearing up paper. Because the problem with Aragorn is he'll eat it. You go down. He's got to go. You, come here. Come on. Come on. And now you're going to hide from me. Go find your brother. Ouch. He got me right there. Scared the daylights out of me. Little bugger. Darn. Yep. Yep, Tanya, yelling at the kiddos. Aragorn and Arwen have one really bad habit is every once in a while they take fits about shredding paper, and Aragorn is an idiot. I love him dearly, but he's not the brightest bulb in that lamp. He will eat the paper. And he especially loves tissue paper. And now he's throwing up in my hallway. You all right? Hi. Do I have a present? Do I have a present? Because you just left that way. I heard and now you're here. Was that you? See, he's just not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So, hello, Hello, Neo. And Jeanette. Unstuffing the house. The last inheritance was the massive book inheritance. And that was, we're going into 2023. So that was eight years. Oh, yeah, 8 years ago now. But it was so massive that I stopped every day from work at the house of the friend who left me her book collection. Apparently it was not only her collection, but her husband's, and her husband had been deceased for some time. There were books in Lithuanian, Russian, all the Lithuanian books. It took me 4 years to find a place to send them. And there is a Lithuanian library here in the US, and they, bless their hearts, they took them all. And they insisted that they pay me something for them, because apparently when communism took over Lithuania, books in Lithuanian became outlawed. And I had stuff from before World War II and before, all of that they tried to erase the language. And so they were super thrilled, and they insisted on paying me for them. I just wanted them to pay shipping, because I knew if I put them in a library book sale, nobody wanted the amount of books I had. By the time we were done shipping them to them, we had 800 books, 170 magazines, some personal letters, all written in Lithuanian, that dated from the 1920s and the 1930s. That was a big bundle like that. And there were a couple of children's books, not many of those, but there were about a dozen kids' books, and some newspapers, 1930s newspapers. There was an entire 4 years of up to 1940 that were all in Lithuanian, were all newspapers. An entire year's worth of the Sunday paper. That was a lot of paper. And they were all from Nancy's husband. So yeah, the last one in was the first one out, but the collection was so massive. I sent pickup truckloads to the Arden Fair that year for their book booth. And that was all like the mass market paperback. And I had to check every single book, because she had, between her and her husband, most of their big collection was signed books. And that stuff paid the taxes on the house for a couple of years. Now we're down to being able to get to all the boxes from the other estates now. Things are a little jumbled up though, because when I inherited the house, and there were at one point were 3 storage units, I had gotten everything down to just 1. And then when I was downsized out of a job, then everything had to come here. So it all just got packed in. And so it's been a while, but now we're down to what I call warehouse 13, because there's no living room furniture. This is all just lines of boxes. I mean, right behind me is kind of a catch-all pile, but it's all just rows of boxes from the storage unit. And it used to be higher than this. So it's definitely been, it's a work in progress. And for anybody who is dealing with having inherited a ton of stuff, having to clean out a house, working on your own house, I will be your biggest cheerleader. I know the stages of depression you'll go through. I know the stages of being overwhelmed you'll go through. And I can tell you what I did to help get me out of that and get me to where I am getting better. I am not 100% there yet. I still have bad days where it gets to me, but I got coping mechanisms, and you can figure out your own coping mechanisms too. And it's okay to take a day where you just don't work on it. It's too much. You're finally hitting that breaking point. It's okay. I basically took Christmas off. I did not work on this house on Christmas Day, other than doing, because my Christmas present from my brother was he cleaned his room with all the dishes he had up there. So I went to bed with an empty sink and woke up Christmas morning with a full sink. So, so my big thing was doing the dishes, making the dinner. So day after Christmas, I didn't do anything. I just gave myself some downtime, and just relaxed. And you need to. Oh, it's Tony. Okay. So it's the Y. I look at the Y and I'm trying to figure out the Y with the E. So just forget the E. It's Tony. Okay. Um, so yeah, I mean it's a lot. And then I rescued tried to rescue a kitten early in 2022, but she got out again. And the next time I saw her, she was pregnant. She wasn't even a year old. She was a 9-month-old kitten that was pregnant, and now I have her children. Unfortunately, she got out not long after they were weaned, because she just wanted to be outside. She'd been outside for a couple of months, and so had pretty much turned into an outdoor cat. But she got out by tearing a screen apart, and then got hit by a car right out front. So I don't let her kids out the door, but Gimli likes to DoorDash. He has so much pent up energy, and then when he gets outside, he literally just runs. He goes out front and he runs around this side of the house because it's more open. On this side, there's just a walkway. He'll just run around to the kitchen porch, and then he'll run back, and then he'll run to the backyard again. And then once he's done that about 6 times, he comes back and he wants to go in the house. So we've been working on leash training him. He's the only one that wants to go outside. So we want to try to do it in a safe way for him. So, but yeah, I'm looking good. I have literally I have a lip gloss and, well, you must have gotten me. That's dried blood on my finger. Where did he get me? I don't see any there. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Little bugger did get me. Hey, at least he missed my eye. That's the important part. He started to climb and then he started to slide, because there's a couple things up here that he started to slide on. So he panicked. So where were we? We were talking about looking up artists. So I know Susan Branch, and it's quite possible I have more Susan Branch stationery, though I've sold most of it. I have sold individual. There are people who collect her stuff so much that I have sold individual sheets of stickers of Susan Branch stuff. So she's one to watch out for. And I know, now I don't know this one. This is Bjorkman Brothers. So I'm going to look that one up. But I know this one. This is a Boynton. And Boynton, this is a series that he did called Chicago Teddies. Now, I know if you have Boynton's, some of their stuff now, because it's not made anymore, there's people that collect that. I've sold 2 Boynton mugs and gotten, one was one I had, and the other one was one I picked up at a yard sale, and I got $12 for the one and $15 for the other. So, and they were just mugs with Boynton art on it. Tasha Tudor art, though that's usually children's books. Her artwork, Jan Brett artwork, which is again somebody who illustrates children's books. But occasionally you find Jan Brett note cards. But Edward Gorey, that's the other one I was trying to think of. Edward Gorey, who remembers Mystery on PBS? And it had the black and white line drawing cartoon as the opening. That was his artwork. And Edward Gorey stuff, whether it's jewelry, a mug, stationery, note card, anything. There are people out there that love his stuff. But I found these. I've never seen these before. Now that's a Christmas card. Oh, God, yes, the Ghastly Crumb Tinies. Do I have any of that? I've read them because I got them from the library, but I don't think I actually own any of those. Charles Addams. Now, Charles Addams, I have a big, thick coffee table book because I love the Addams family. I love his cartoons, his comics, his artwork. And I also love the old black and white TV show because that's what I grew up on. And I grew up watching that. But this cracked me up because inside, that's when I found out this one was a Christmas card. Open your chimneys, all ready for Santa Claus. Merry Christmas. So, but that's a Rosalind Welcher. So as we were going through all these things, because this Mary Englebright one full of cards and the other accordion folder that was full of cards, they all came from the same Nancy whose books I inherited. Because when we were emptying the house, as we were getting down the stuff, there were things just put in my car that were not books, that they're like, oh, you have pen pals? Sure, here. I got all the stationery, some boxes of books I opened up, and there'd be little bits of toys or porcelain. The teacup and saucer the one day, I'm like, how is this not broken being in the middle of a bunch of books? Just wedged down in the box. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. But this one is the same, and it's a Christmas one. And then so is this adorable. Look at this adorable artwork. Absolutely adorable. So when you're cleaning out a desk and you've got old stationery, check some of the names. If you find a couple of things and it actually has the name of somebody who did the artwork on it, check them. Check them and see if they're worth anything. This is one I'm going to check just because the quality of that artwork is really, really nice. And it's a Paul Prince card. And it has Trina Hyman as the artist. So I'm going to look that one up. Now, I've been saying that I'm saving up Mary Englebright stuff because I want to have a sale that's just Mary Englebright. Well, I found two cards that show what a difference a little time makes in an artist's career. We all know Mary Englebright stuff like this. Highly detailed, bright and colorful, lots of little things to look at in there. This particular one, you can't really see her eyes, but her eyes are just little dots because it's profile. But a lot of times the eyes in Mary Englebright are what we're used to are kind of big and round, right? This card is from 1987. This card is from, where'd it go? Because I found it. Oh, it's dated in the artwork, 1978. So this one is hers. Look at the difference. And the eyes just remind me of Edward Gorey. So how dark and like a narrow oval, but isn't that so vastly different? That is incredibly, incredibly different. I mean, you still have the details, but you don't have the details of a background. And her earlier stuff is like this in that it's all about the character. And by the time she gets to the 80s, she's doing more detailed work of the characters with all that background to it. Because I went looking it up. I went looking for it to find out why were they so different. And that's why. I mean, that's how her art progressed. So that was a cool find, finding the earlier one. I did find some cool stuff that's good. I don't have an envelope that this actually fits in, but this apparently was from 1988 for Lillian Vernon. It's meant to be some kind of note card, but if you're doing ephemera stuff or paper crafting with anything, that's a cool piece. So that's going to be part of an ephemera lot. I may just make one that's all floral. I love this one because it's Marjolaine Baston. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her first name, but this is like a parchment paper with the different images. So you get the shadow of the one behind it and then open it up. So you could have a lot of fun with that one because of the fact that it's see-through paper, you could do something where this is something that you hang in the window. I also found, and I'm going to tuck these away because it's so rare for me to have Halloween stuff, but I found 2 vintage Hallmark Halloween cards. So I'm going to put them away because it's so rare for me to have Halloween stuff. So I'm going to put them away for Halloween. And I also found this 3D card. There's one tab right here I have to fix because it should be through a hole in the back. But none of this is glued together. It's all slotted together. But look at the image. You've got 3 angles that you can look at it and see all this stuff. Isn't that cool? That is so, so cool. It's from 1992. Now I've sold, I can't think of the name of the company. That's all they make is a pop-up card in 3D. And I had a bunch of them from when I closed the candy store that I used to be assistant manager at. We were told we could just have once we wrote them off, we could have whatever ones we wanted. And I took all the Disney ones. So I had Pop something. And I sold all of those off a long time ago. I don't know that I still have any more. Pop Shots. They're called Pop Shots. They still make them. Though nowadays you usually see them just around Christmas time. Hey, Junking Data Girl. Hello. So those are another one. Any 3D pop-up card is something else that can go onto eBay and be sold. I mean, if you're clearing out, I mean, it's amazing what has some value to it. I know that for used greeting cards, check with the local preschool, because a lot of times they are so thrilled to have a donation of something they can make art with the kids. So I know I have donated some. I've also donated some old, not vintage, but coloring books that were from my nieces that were probably about half used. And they said they'd take them too. So I donated about 15 coloring books that were half done, but were still half pages that, could still be used. So they were thrilled. They were absolutely thrilled. So you can find some places that would take things as donations. I know in the past I've told about taking the unfinished bridesmaids dresses and donating them to Chester High, where some girls basically then all they had to do was finish sewing it up in home ec, and then they had free prom gown. So, I didn't want to see a half finished satin dress go to waste. So I've, I mean, I know a lot of people just say, oh, get a dumpster, but this was helping pay the taxes. And it's not like I think every single thing has value. Some things don't. Some things are broken beyond repair. Some things are like vintage Tupperware. Sometimes it gets really weird feeling, like tacky, like something's wrong with the plastic. And you can't save that, or it cracks and you can't, that's trash. Chuck it. I know there's people that collect Tupperware, but they don't want it cracked and they don't want it feeling weird. They don't want it feeling like that weird sticky feeling that some of the early Tupperware gets. So it's okay to toss that. It is okay to toss that if it's got that weird feeling. I'm always amazed at things like pencils. Now, like any old metal pen, metal cased pen, oh, always look them up. But I'm amazed that you can make money off pencils. Noelle has mentioned it a couple times, but I had a pencil that I sold, and I have another one for Wawa from the early days of Wawa with the original logo from back in like the 60s, 70s at the latest. Hi, Proud American. And I need to get that online. But I sold a pencil that had Reading Railroad on it. Now, this was a long while ago, long before I had my channel, back when I had my original eBay store. But well, when I was, before I had a store, I had been on eBay the second year eBay came out, and found out the hard way that eBay does not have any policy, or didn't have any policy in place for medical emergency. And I got kicked off of eBay because I had snapped 2 ligaments in my ankle and could not get to the computer, which was down here, because once I got up home, I was stuck in bed rest for that one ended up being 10 weeks total bed rest. I didn't come downstairs for 10 weeks. Got really good at things like Minecraft and a couple other video games, read a lot, watched a lot of movies. Thank God for Netflix. But but I couldn't get to the computer, and I didn't, cell phones weren't a big thing then. They weren't like they are now. And I didn't have one anyway. And I had no way to stop anything in my store, and they kicked me off. And all that, and I tried to explain that it was a medical emergency. Nope, too bad. And so there went having, I mean, at that point, I had like 7,000 feedback, ratings, and I had to start from scratch. Which is why my eBay store only has like 480 some feedback now, is because I had to start over again. And I figured, well, if I'm starting over again, make everything the same name. And but I have noticed that I don't have balance yet in trying to get stuff listed versus having the live sales and then getting Etsy done. So the Etsy store and the eBay store have kind of suffered while I got the channel up and running, but also because of my spine. A lot of stuff in my store is on sale right now, 30% off. But there's only like 40 items in the store right now. So it's difficult to find balance when you feel so overwhelmed with all this, plus all the household stuff you end up having to do. Like, Mike's not been doing the cooking now that he's on second shift. So now I'm back to having to do all the cooking, all the dishes, and He'll put them away. Still working on getting my brother Gary to put dishes away when they're clean out of the dish rack. But we're back to me feeling like I've got to do double the job. I've got to not only try to deal with all this, and I'm by myself. I'm not like Misty has her kids. I'm a lot of other people, they have their kid do it or something, but I don't have that. I don't have that. Mike is trying to put that business administration degree he just got to good use and set things up, help me set it up as a proper business. But as far as doing any packing or doing any listing for me or any of that, he's not involved. And now that he's on second shift, he's definitely not going to be involved. When he was on third shift, I might get a little help in the afternoon before he went in, but now I don't see him that much. So I have to figure out a way to balance better and make sure that something gets listed every day. If it's just one thing like today was, that's one thing more. That's okay. If I get days where I can get 5 or 6, that's awesome. But I'm starting my goal low, because to me, my year, I think it's from all the decades of working in retail, my year begins and ends at Christmas. Once you hit Christmas, then it's like, okay, that's the end of that year. And then I start thinking ahead for my next year starts like, day or two after Christmas. So no, they do not. But I'll tell you, Gimli's a brat. Gimli likes to chew on the snowmen, the little snowmen that light up. That's a problem. So, and this is my assemblage from Sarah at Thrift U. It's so nice to be able to have it out. That's the extent of my decorating for Christmas. One of the things I like about having snowmen is you can leave them out longer. Like Chris, you don't have to, like 2 days after Christmas, take everything down again. I can leave this stuff out through January. Time traveling cats would be a little scary. That would be a little scary, wouldn't it? Especially with some of these wahoos. Some of these guys, I don't know. Gimli would probably turn into the master, because he is a little bit of a bully. Let's see. Aragorn, yeah. Aragorn would be like Sarah Jane after it turned to Tom Baker, because Sarah Jane Smith was a character that was a journalist. She was smart, she was intelligent, she asked intelligent questions, and then they switched which actors play the Doctor, but they also switched head writer, and they made the character stupid, which just annoyed me no end. Still made her funny, but made her stupid, which I just ticked me off. Still kind of like, why do you have this great female character and then make her dumb? There's no need for that. So that's where I think Aragorn would be in the Doctor Who hierarchy. Elrond, Arwen is going to be some creature that's afraid of everybody. Frodo's going to be that place where that's that otherworld person, alien, whatever you want to call it, that has no F's to give and does not care. That would be Frodo. Arwen, though. Arwen is timid. I'm not sure what Arwen would be. Which episode with Rose? I've seen all the episodes with Rose Tyler. Now, they say that your doctor is the first doctor you see. In my case, that's not true, because the first doctor I saw was Sean Pertwee, but it was in his first episode, and they used to only show half-hour episodes here on the PBS channels. And if that's what you saw, even if you saw the second episode, you don't know what's going on. There's no time travel. He doesn't even know who he is. They kind of drug that out a fair bit for him in his first couple of episodes. And it made no sense, had no clue what was going on. So I didn't know what it was. So I didn't watch it again. Well, they apparently went all through the Pertwee years and episodes, and then got to Tom Baker, and my best friend called me up and said, you need to turn on, because I don't think it was on Channel 12. I think it was on the New Jersey PBS station, which we could get here. And he said, you've got to go turn this on. This is so you. You have to see this. And it was the Tom Baker episode with the Zygons, and I was hooked ever since. Oh, the Nurse Cats. That's right. There's the Nurse Cats. But have you seen Gridlock? The David Tennant episode Gridlock? Because when they drop through, he has to drop through all the cars, and there's a cat man in there, and they have little cat babies. And so they have these kittens, real kittens, but the kittens talk. My nose is running. So I thought that was kind of cool. There was something else I wanted to show you. Out of all that stuff, we only found one vintage card. Now, where did I put it? Nora knows the one I'm talking about. Is it in this pile? Might be in this pile. There it is. Like, I mean, I get it. A lot of these are from the 90s or before. So, I mean, 20 years, they are all vintage. But this one, no more tonsils. Anybody who doesn't like clowns, look away now. Look at the color. Such wonderful graphics, and it's got that adorable little kitten and the little feathery, but it's no more tonsils. I love Norcross. It's a Norcross card. Norcross was, I think, for artwork, Norcross really was a good contender for some of the best artwork. It says, what? No tonsils anymore? That's very good. Hooray. Eat lots and lots of ice cream and get better right away. But that's great artwork. And that was the only like really vintage one. Hi, CDC. Yeah, the little one mewed mama. So oh yeah, late night PBS. Oh God, not only did you have Doctor Who, but you had Blake 7. Absolutely love that show. You had Blake 7, you had Monty Python's Flying Circus. So when Mike hit the age of 10, I introduced him to Monty Python's Flying Circus. Because that's the age that my brother Steve introduced me to Monty Python. And you need to be at least 10. Because so much of it hits your humor as a 10-year-old. With some things going over your head. And then by the time you're 15, you figured out a lot of what went over your head. So, yeah, I grew up watching a lot of PBS. Back when PBS actually used to show Broadway shows live. I remember seeing Maggie Smith in Lettuce and Lovage live from New York on PBS. And the New Jersey station had this fantastic show called Matinee at the Bijou. They would have on the newsreel, the old 1930s serial. So I saw The Perils of Pauline. I saw Buster Crabbe. I saw all the Flash Gordon. I saw all of the Buck Rogers series. Destry Rides Again, which was a Western one. One kind of about wasn't yeah. The Western ones were okay, but they didn't catch my interest as much. You also would see cartoons of the period. So I saw early black and white Bugs Bunny. The earliest black and white Bugs Bunny. He doesn't look like we know him now. He looks different. So did Porky Pig, looked a little different. So you had them. You had the early black and white Popeye. You had Betty Boop. Back before her renaissance in the 80s, you had the original Betty Boops. You had some early Max Fleischman cartoons as well, and then there'd be the feature movie. So you might see the Thin Man, or you might see some really early science fiction movie. I remember them showing silent movies now and then. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Oh, the Buck Rogers from the 80s was Twicky. Wasn't the robot dude Twicky? Hello, Melody. I don't know why it's showing your name differently. Do you have two YouTube accounts? I have had to watch that because Google somehow put me in, and there's one channel that's Thisoverstuffedhouse, but it's also got a Google sign in under Nancy Krause, and I don't know how it ended up with that because I don't have that. It should just be Thisoverstuffedhouse, but somehow it's got another one in there. And then of course there's the other one, which is my other personal one where I watch stuff. So a brother or a robot friend. Oh, I'd have given you one of my brothers. I had 4 of them in a Boy Scout troop worth. So I had about 30 pseudo brothers. I would have given you one. So, Melody, how are you doing? Weren't you the one working on getting things onto eBay too? Yeah, I don't know what's up with that either, Nora. Why you can't get any memberships on your other profile? I don't know why that would. I wonder. Oh. Okay. Nora, according to this, it may be a problem with, do you use Google? Because it may be a problem with Google. If you if you go into your Google account and go to the membership page, go to the settings, which is the little gear icon, and you can turn off memberships. So so that may be it. You may have accidentally turned it off on the Google. So Melody's Many Miscellaneous. That's right, you're on Macari. I'm not on Macari. No, it's not under the Google settings, huh? Because I know there's settings in YouTube about whether you can do memberships, but then I know Google gets involved and it can screw things up because there was something I wanted to do. And oh, I tried doing a live upstairs using Michael's um webcam one night, and it wouldn't let me have access to the webcam. And it's because he had done something and it kept saying webcam still in use. And here he hadn't signed out of whatever it was he had done, and he had gone to work because he was working third that night. And here I was trying to, do stuff up, and I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in to do it. It was driving me nuts. And it was all just some setting through Google, and it was just drove me bonkers. So let's see. Oh, how did I get back on eBay after being kicked off? Well, first off, I ended up waiting. I had so much to deal with because of those snap ligaments, and I had physical therapy. I had to learn how to walk again because all that time, and it was only it was just over a year before I'd had foot surgery on the other foot, which meant 6 weeks of bed rest. So I lost so much. There's 3 layers of muscles on the soles of your feet. It was so painful to walk after that second time, because on that time, I literally couldn't move from the hips down. So from the waist down, I couldn't move. When I had the foot surgery, as long as the foot was locked into that boot and the foot and ankle didn't move, I could do leg lifts. I could keep moving. I couldn't walk on it, but I could do some exercises while I was in bed. I couldn't do that with the ligament because that particular ligament comes up from, it snapped just in front of and just behind the ankle bone, 2 ligaments. Well, that same ligament comes all the way up to your hip. So I didn't bother trying to get back on. Once I talked to them and they said, no, I didn't get back on for, I think it was 6 months before I finally got things straightened out. Now I got back on, but I had to redo everything. I couldn't use the same email. Back then too, they didn't track your IP address. That wasn't a thing then. So I made sure I got one started. I didn't do a lot with it though right away. And then started. Now that was, I did little bits because I started doing flea markets to try to clear stuff out of the storage units. And so I was just doing the books, and so I didn't do a huge amount, but yeah, I ended up having to use a whole different email. Now they can track things by the IP address of your computer, which to me is kind of overkill. But yeah, it took a while. Oh yeah, it was a lot of pain. Yeah, it was a lot. But I got a lot of books read. Got a lot of books read. That was honestly, that was the first time that I ended up with a big financial headache, because I got hurt at wood badge training for Boy Scouts. And no one who was in charge of that training ever let me know that Boy Scout insurance should have covered everything. Should have covered my lost wages, should have covered all the medical bills. I had to pay everything out of pocket. I maxed out all my credit cards to pay for everything, and nobody told me squat. And then to make it worse, when I did find out about it, it had already been over a year later, so now it's too late. But they never even filed an incident report. I had to go to the ER. I came back and they were ready to send me home. And I'm like, how? I can't even really have a way to get home. So I stuck it out because it was only 2 more days. And they said, well, you'll have to come back and do the whole training all over again with a whole new batch of people. I'm like, no, I'll stick with my patrol if they can get me around. So I did. I had enough good pain meds to last for 2 days. So once I got home, I stayed here. So I've heard of that. If you get VPN, it can show a different address. Excuse me, sir. Come here, Frodo. What are you doing? I know, I have stuff up on the tower. You've seen everybody but Arwen now. Frodo. You guys need new collars because you have destroyed this. Look at this. It's falling apart. I got some off of Amazon, some catch release collars. Catch release, snap release collars. Gimli has figured out how to get them off. And he was so annoyed with the last one, he literally broke it. He broke the plastic snap and then chewed on it for good measure. But they fight and they bite at their neck, and so it's coming apart. And I don't have any left. Yeah, it was a pack of 12, and there's 5 of you. And you've destroyed them all since you've been kittens. So, how's my roof? Still leaking. But there is, come January 1st, there is a grant program. Chester is getting a big chunk of it from the federal government for low-income people for home repairs. So I am going to see if I can't get in on that grant. It's the first one that I have found that is not tied to my age, so that I can hopefully get a new roof through that, or help getting a new roof, because that thing's a hot mess, and there are definitely 2 raccoons getting in, and I can't find the holes. Cannot figure out where they're getting in. Oh, purring baby, purring baby. Where's your head going? What are you doing? Purrs, all the purrs. Hello, Linda. So keep your fingers crossed. What are you doing? Oh, you're gonna rub against that, huh? No. The only reason the bird perch is on there is to hold up the snowman. What? No, we're not doing 2 kittens at a time. My back's tired. It's not gonna take it. All right, dude. I have to put you down, Frodo. You have to go down. Good boy. And you're gonna climb that quick right up on a box because the floor is lava. Can't touch the floor. They do this in the playroom too. They climb up the boxes and they go around. We haven't had another work with me because I overdid it with a heavy box of fabric. So I have to get that cleared out of there. That's this weekend's goal, is to clear that out so that we can get another load of stuff from Paul and start getting that one. We have some. One problem for the urban renewal that I've found is that they could do all the windows, but Mom already paid for some, and I paid for the others that are going to get done. Some of it, I'm not on disability. I did look into that. All those years of retail, I don't have enough money to start disability at age 57. So I need to keep working. But I can't lift too well. And my back gets really tired if I do more than 10 pounds. It can sometimes spasm. So, yeah, that is one problem. Like if you have some of these, you have to be in the house at least 5 years. And even if it's from death, they'll come after you for the money to pay it back. Now, I don't plan on going anywhere in the next 5 years because, I mean, the house is paid off. With what being out of work from my spine has done to my finances, there's no way I could get a mortgage, because I've had a couple of people say, well, get a mortgage on the house and pay for the roof. And I'm like, yeah. But then we have the problem of, how do I pay the mortgage? Because this is an unsteady income right now. So, yeah, I mean, God can have different plans. Heaven knows I know that. 11 funerals in 6 months at one point in our family. Yeah, I know. Different plans can happen. Oh, incoming. You're hovering over my backyard. That means you're for the hospital and you're waiting to land. There's a helicopter outside. They built a new pad at Crozier Chester Medical Center, which has an excellent burn unit. So they often get, because for burn units on the East Coast, you either have to go Virginia, Crozier, here in Chester, or Boston. They are on the East Coast. They're the three big ones. I think there's one in Florida somewhere. But they built a new landing pad, but the way they put in the lights, they used to hover over I-95, but the way they put the lights in, now they have to hover over our little residential area because otherwise the lights are blinding the pilots. So he's waiting for landing. That's right. Never take a mortgage out on a house that is paid off. I know someone who did that they were buying a family house and they never paid their mother all for it. And they took a second, not only did they take one mortgage out and then not pay her and pay that off, but they also then took a second mortgage out, didn't pay that, and ended up losing the house. So yeah, no. Oh, HUD is a double-edged sword. HUD will, as they put it, put the house back to the original condition. 1911, 1935. Tell me what you think original condition is going to be. The next door twin to us used to have a finished basement. HUD came in, tore it all out. Tore out all the paneling, tore out the bathroom that was down there in the basement. They tore out all the windows and put in these really crappy ones that leaked. And the guy who now bought the house, who's flipping it, he bought it last spring. He's still working on the house. Those HUD windows weren't even put in right. They were never caulked. They were a mess. So yeah, I've heard some horror stories of HUD touching a house. I'm not willing to let him touch this one. Oh, that's good of you, DMB. Let's see, I'm kind of on my own. I may really be on my own if Mike moves out. It's going to happen at some point, you know. I think it may happen a little sooner than I expected, but we'll see. You never know. But yeah, I'm just the taxes here are a third of what they are anywhere else in my county because I looked after mom died. So to have that and have the house paid off, it was paid off when I was 16. And me in a smaller house with Gary, we'd kill each other. Because now at least we get sick of each other. We can go to separate parts of the house, you know, or to our rooms. We're fine. But that would not be a good mental health decision, be in a smaller house with that particular brother. Oh, it is. It's absolute security. And honestly, I mean, the big problem right now is heating oil for me and the roof. But heating oil is a big deal. Which is why, you know, I kind of felt guilty taking, you know, Christmas Day and the day. Well, Christmas Day, I was with you guys for a little bit and taking the day after Christmas off and not really doing anything. And yesterday ended up being, I got stuff done, but it was all stuff around here that needed to get taken care of and cleaning that needed to take care of. And I do not yet get LIHEAP. I have to put in for it, but here's the problem with LIHEAP in Pennsylvania. You have to put in a bill. Well, I only could only get 100 gallons. That was all I had money for. But Mike put in and paid early on, paid $800 for 150 gallons when the price was so high. I need that sales receipt. He's got to print that out for me because that's what I need to send to LIHEAP. So and that didn't even fill the tank. It's a 250-gallon tank. LIHEAP will only give me the same amount of money that I have a receipt for. Now, to me, that's kind of stupid because if you have people who desperately need heating oil, and the whole point is they don't have the money to fill their tank, why can't you find out, give them one full tank? Right now, well, I got the gloves on. I've got 3 shirts on under this, and then the heavy sweater is because of the fact that it's 58 degrees in the house right now because we're got to keep it down. I really want to know about going to natural gas. Now, I originally got told that the line has to come in and it can only go but so much distance to the heater. And we've only got the one chimney, so we can't really change that. But, and it's through a grant, it's a new heater from 2021. So that's an oil burner, I'm sure. I don't think that can be converted to gas. But honestly, if I had to do it over again, I would really want to put in natural gas because then you don't have to worry about it so much. They haven't. I tried that once before and they didn't let me do that. Turn in 2 receipts. Yeah, see, there's a nice difference between 58 and 60. Uh, oh, there are no vents in the basement. It's not forced air, it's old radiators. It's old radiators. It's all hot water radiators. And the odd part is like there's 2 loops because there's the loop from 1911, which is the front of the house, and then there's a second loop that so it's like funny. You look at the heater in the basement, and then there's two big pipe systems. One goes off this side and one goes off this side because they're 2 separate radiator loops for the flowing water. So oh yeah. Yeah, that's one blessing about this house is that when they built the 1911 stuff, other than where a hose connection goes through the foundation, none of the pipes are in exterior walls. Some pipes are actually visible inside the house. Like in the dining room, the pipes for the radiator go up to the room on the 2nd floor. They're actually inside the room. But they did that in 1911 because that, first off, you were showing that you had this stuff. It was a big deal to have, indoor have heat like that, the radiators. But having the pipes exposed like that was more heat. The pipe gets warm. It's more radiant heat going up. Now, they didn't do it in the living room, but at that end of the living room, that used to be the only radiator in this room, and the thing is huge. Most hot water radiators are not quite. They're not 3 feet long. They're maybe 2.5. But that sucker's a good 5, maybe 6 feet long. It's huge. So, yeah, now DMB, do you have the same problem in that the 1930s work on the house was kind of crappy once you get into the walls and really see what they did? Because that's the problem I have here. Everything in this part that I'm sitting in now and back is from 1930s, from 1935. So you're looking at in the middle of the Depression, and that's the area I've had the most problems with. The leaking pipes, the problems with electrical, problems with how shoddy a door hinge was put in, and then you find out that they actually put the hinge into a piece of woodwork that is only 1/8 of an inch thick, and that was supposed to hold up a whole wood door. No. Everything that's had issues, like even the leak in the roof, it's the 1935 part. I've had a ceiling collapse from a leaky pipe in there. I've had to open up one wall to get to another pipe, and found out that that's when I found out that there's absolutely no insulation. In the 1935, there's nothing. There's no insulation whatsoever. Now, at least like the 1911, there is some, but you could tell, like, if you open up, there was one wall we opened up, not intending to, but we had to pull the baseboard out to do a repair. And you found insulation, but a lot of it had fallen. But there at least was something, right? But the 1935, there's nothing. No insulation anywhere. Awful. Oh, one nail to hold in a long baseboard. Oh, geez. I want to at some point re-insulate our attic. Our attic has insulation that I question what it's made out of. Because I think it's fiberglass, but what else might it be with it? Because it's really early stuff. And so I want to put more modern stuff in. You did roof, windows, and siding, then the rate. Well, so that's one problem, is like the siding doesn't let your house breathe. I have a brick house, so no. Gary's got the judgment skills of a 14-year-old due to an accident he had. So he can't. Mike's not shown any interest in being willing to help do any of this, which has been a problem. Oh, it's Gimli stretching over there. Honestly, I need to get Mike back on me. You need to do some of the housework so that I'm not trying to do all of it. You know, before he got promoted and was not working second shift, was working third, he'd cook dinner at least. Now I'm cooking dinner and doing all the cleanup, and I don't mind doing the dishes if somebody else is cooking, and sweeping the steps and running the vacuum. He needs to be doing that. I'm not supposed to be running the vacuum to begin with, not with my spine anymore. So because you twist. You know, when you run a vacuum, you may not realize it, but you're twisting your torso, you're twisting the small of your back. I am not allowed to do that. And I have found it can cause spasms very quickly. So when I sweep, I'm literally using a broom and a dustpan. One of those things, it's a butler. So the butler is the dustpan, but it's got that long, straight handle on it. So you have horrible, cheap things insulating the attic. I've been looking in at wool insulation. Apparently, it's really good for when you've got brick. I used to do the snow and raking leaves. We used to have to make the rounds because my brother Gary and I used to do our own house. Well, Mrs. Grantland was the twin on the other side of the twin, so you just do straight down in front of both twins. So you had to do there. The Dohertys were an elderly brother and sister that lived next door. You do theirs, and then that would meet up with Harold, but his son usually was out there, would do his walkway. But then across the street, you had Miss Roberts and Miss Wilson. So you had to at least, they hired somebody who would plow the big half curve driveway, which is big half circle. But you still had to go make sure the porch was clear and the walkway from the back door. So we would take care of that. But then next to them was the Doolings, and then, oh, what was her name? There was another elderly lady, and we'd do those two houses. And then we'd have to get in the car, go take care of both grandmothers and the great aunts. So yeah, that was a lot. Oh, it's up. Bye, Sue. Nighttime meds. Yep. I have to go soon too, because I'm under strict orders to not be up past 1 o'clock, because Mike is taking me out tomorrow for our anniversary for our he's 28 now, so 26 years that that he's been living. Well, he didn't live with me the whole time, but that we've been together, because I got custody when he was 2. So it's our anniversary, since it's usually the Sunday before Christmas, but since Christmas was on Sunday this year, we didn't do anything for it. But he doesn't go in, he works 3rd shift tomorrow, so we're gonna go out somewhere. I don't know what, he won't tell me anything. So I don't know what's going on. So next week will be a live sale. I honestly don't know if there will be a work with me this coming Sunday, because I just don't see how I'll have more boxes from Paul. I better check on that. What did you guys do? What did you? Really? Really? This is not a toy. No, I'm taking it away. It's not a toy. This is not a toy. I'm taking it away from you. You cannot have it. No, go away. Plastic trash can. Plastic trash can has been upstairs, and luckily it didn't have any water in it. But I've had to put that under a door jamb up there, where when it really leaks hard, they just bounced it down the staircase. Honestly, it's like living with 5 toddlers. It really is. Have 5 8-month-old kittens in your house. It's like having toddlers. No, Patsy, honey, tonight was not a sale. Tonight was just a chat. We talked about a couple of things to watch out for when you're clearing through stuff, because you don't always think of stationery as something to have to think of. But it's just been a nice little chat and dealing with the kittens. I think everybody but Arwen made an appearance. So I'm just happy that can did not have any water in it, because they did that. It had 4 inches of water in it and dumped it, and the water went all over the landing and down the staircase partway. Little buggers. So, oh my goodness. So, oh, yeah, you need some meds too? Yeah, I know the feeling. I see a muscle relaxer in my future for going to bed tonight. Don't you dare. Okay, he turned around, walked away again. Ah, yeah, I've been stocking up like as I find ephemera stuff so that I can have, because that was real fun that night, when I had just like ephemera lots. And none of it was, we had some that was like Victorian era stuff, but most of it was from the last, I'd say the last 40 years. Um, so everybody seemed to like it. With the winter coming, though this year winter hit everybody in like one fell swoop, but we still got to get through January and February. And I know there's quite a few people that spend that time doing craft stuff. So that's another reason why I've been trying to like go through and clear out, because there's an awful lot of paper stuff in this house. One of the things in my own bedroom I didn't realize I had, uh, I was looking and going, there's that box in the corner, and I know that one and that one are boxes of books, but what's that one? And I open it up, and it's all old paperwork from when I used to be on the board for Arden Singers in Arden, Delaware, which is a Gilbert and Sullivan group. And I'm like, we don't need that paperwork anymore. So it's all going to go out in the recycling. Oh, you're having more snow? Oh, more snow. Oh, hello, Sawdust. Sawdust is Karen? Look, I'm looking for my notes. Karen, is that right? I'm trying to get everybody's name memorized. I'm not very good at it yet. I know you're on my thing. Yes, Karen. There we go. So, well, they actually are 8 months old. And the only one right now at 8 months that's full grown is Gimli, who's asleep in a cardboard box over there. Aragorn is not far behind him in size. And then Frodo, who was the runt of the litter, who I had to bottle feed the first 36 hours that I got a hold of the kittens, he's now almost caught up to the older two. But Arwen and Elrond are still really kind of small. Hi, Marianne. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's always better to shred checks. My Boy Scouts think it's hysterical that when I had, there was an account that my mom and I had, she had my name on one of her checking accounts when she passed away, and that was the house fund. That way, if there was any way I needed any kind of funds to fix something around here for her, that I could just go cash check and get what I needed. And so that became also the fund for when we were settling her estate and I had inherited the house. So when I finally closed that thing, there were still blank checks left, but there was a camping trip that weekend with the Boy Scouts. So they're like, hey, we need paper, we need some stuff, because you couldn't really use, there weren't many dried twigs around because it had rained that week. So I said, oh, I got paper. Wait a minute. I pulled out like a stack of things like this of blank checks, and I pulled off like three of them. Went, here, take these, pull them apart, use that for the paper to start the fire with. And then they realized, they're like, why are you burning checks? I'm like, yeah, because I closed the account, so we used them. We used them as fire starter. Ah, merit badge for burning checks. That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I found, like, I know mom a lot of that stuff after dad died. She purged a lot of that because my dad never got rid of anything that was bank statements, old tax form. He never got. He had shoe boxes of it all lined up, all underneath the chest of drawers in their room, all underneath the bureau in their bedroom. And when he died, she went through every box and purged it all and got rid of it, except for, she had read somewhere that you should keep the last 5 years. that's what she did. She just kept the last 5 years. And so when you get to the next year, well, then the oldest one would go and rotate it through. So yeah, unfortunately, DMB, I had that same problem. About having people take stuff. Yeah, I wasn't in a position where I could really open the house because it already became an issue of having some relatives tell me, well, you have to prove what's yours, because they wanted something that was mine that I had inherited from somebody else. And Denise, there we go. I could not remember what your name was. I'm sorry. DMB is Denise. Thank you. I'll try to remember that. My Boy Scouts all laugh at me because I'm bad with names, but yeah, unfortunately, and sometimes you just don't have the energy to fight with them. You just don't have the energy. So, and I've had a lifetime of fighting with one or two people, so I just don't want to. I don't have the energy for it. My energy is just getting through the day these days. And with the way that weather has changed so drastically, when there's a big shift in the barometer, either direction, up or down, it aggravates my arthritis badly. And so when we had that cold front come in so suddenly, my hands hurt so badly that I was sleeping and waking up with them curled up like that and couldn't get them to move because the arthritis in the knuckles was so bad. But hey, you know, I'm still upright and breathing. That's a plus. That's a plus. So I have some things I have to pack away tomorrow once I get back, because I know at some point if Mike's working 30, he's going to want to take a nap in the afternoon. And I've been including some of these little cards in some of the packages, but that's Christmas. So I think, well, I could probably still put in, maybe not Santa and the reindeer, but it's still wintertime. I could probably still use those and use them as package toppers. Put in, and they have a neat back. I like the artwork on the back. Yeah, I've had some say, well, you know, I got all mom's money. And I'm like, no. And then our sister, who was the executor, saw the checkbook and saw exactly where mom's money was going, and it wasn't to me. The best one, the absolute best one, was when my brother, the oldest one of us, who's been in California for years, since I was maybe 14, he moved out there. But he called me laughing his head off because someone who was stirring the pot tried telling him that I was taking all mom's money and I was buying cases of beer during the week and I was drinking all this beer. And he couldn't stop laughing. He hadn't lived here since I was about 14 years old, and even he knew I never, ever drank beer. I hated it. I can't stand the taste. I don't like it. I had friends say, oh, you get used to it. And I went, why? Why do you have to get used to something that tastes like crap? I've never, ever, I've drank mixed drinks. I really do prefer a good scotch. But no. Never, ever drank beer. And he was laughing because this person was adamant that I was stealing mom's money to buy beer. And he just thought it was the funniest thing because even he knew I don't drink this stuff and never have. So yeah, sometimes you get the friends that get all, you know, for whatever reason Where'd you go? Oh, there's fur behind me. Hi. Come here. Is it bedtime? Is it bedtime? You want to try to come sleep with me again? It's hard sleeping with you. You curl up in my armpit. This is Elrond. He is definitely got a parent that was got a daddy that was Siamese. You don't look a thing like your other siblings, except that the gray of your ears is the same gray as Arwen and Aragorn. Is that it? It's bedtime. He likes to try to sneak in and sleep with me, but I only have a twin bed in that particular room. So it's kind of difficult. Oh, you want to go play with a trash can? No. Ah, yeah, some people you just don't bother to talk to them. It's not worth it. It's just, and it's okay. It's okay to just cut them loose if you have to. Because think about it, we aren't the same people at 20 that we were at 15. We aren't the same people at 30 that we were at 20 or at 40 when we were at 30. People do grow and change, and sometimes you grow apart, or sometimes some people just stop growing and then you stagnate, and that never seems to go well. So I saved a Siamese Kit Kat. Oh yeah. Yeah, he is for a Siamese cat though, he's very quiet. Aragorn talks a lot. Aragorn will start making noise, walking around the house talking. I love it. I like having Karen tried to warn me, left shoulder putty tat. Yeah. I can't always hear Elrond. Because he is so thin, and it's not from not eating. He's just Siamese cats tend to be built differently and built kind of light, and I can't always hear him. Now I can tell there's another one behind me because I can hear Aragorn because he's heavier. He's got a good 2 pounds on Elrond. Yep, that's Aragorn back there. Yeah, and then Gimli's getting to the point like the doctor. I can't pick Gimli up from ground level. I can't pick Doctor up and haven't been able to for a while, and he is almost her size. Now the difference is she's 10 years old. Gimli is a little pig. He will push his siblings out of the way to get to their food if he's done eating first. And I'm not having that. So I always end up having to try to bend over and grab him. And I realized this morning that he's getting to the point where I can't really lift him from ground level anymore. So, ah, well, it does. It can take a long time for a cat that's been outside to trust you. That's why I have Rory and Shadow are outside. They trust me, but Rory still runs if the neighbor comes out of his house. She doesn't trust him. She doesn't know him. So she's still skittish. Shadow just watches him. Kevin comes out and he just watches Kevin. If Kevin now Shadow's got some cojones of steel because one night I went out and the raccoon tried coming up the steps to see if I had food for it, and he got between me and the raccoon and was not letting that raccoon come up on that porch. But I know that raccoon. That's the one that used to live in the ceiling of the kitchen porch roof. That's Mama. So good night. Um, so I knew what raccoon it was because it's a very distinctive, perfect mask. Um, so, uh, well, Patsy, there's not too much big stuff. I mean, there are some boxes, but now it takes a little longer, but I will empty a box in place. Like I did on the work with me's on Sunday when we were going through the piles that were all fabric. Turns out to be boxes of books and boxes of fabric. I can't lift any of those boxes. So I do it all in place right there. There will be more of those, but probably not for another week. And I am planning this weekend. The big task is to get back into the dining room at the other end and get into that table, because I can't have the fabric sale with the stuff we found until I get measurements of that fabric. But it all takes longer when you're only doing like little armloads of stuff at a time. But we'll see how well that goes. I will have to get, I go back on the 3rd and get the gel shot in my knee, which will stop having bone rub on bone. I was supposed to have that, the Thursday or the Friday after last week, but here I got there and they guess because of the mail, the shots weren't, the gel shot for in the bone wasn't there. So, and there's a massive bruise from them putting a steroid shot in my knee. So, need that bruise to heal a little bit, but I'll go the 3rd. Once I get that, between the shots in my trigger point shots in my back and then the gel shot in my knee, that helps the mobility a lot more. But I've found ways to work around it. It's been a big learning curve this year. That's why I'm looking forward to starting this from here forward, is because I have finally paid attention and not been so stubborn about it, and started realizing where my limits were and paying attention to them and following that. Know what I can push, and then, okay, well, if it twinges this way, you need to stop and stop. I wasn't doing that, and I gave myself a big relapse at the beginning of the summer this past year, and I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. And there are changes coming up in Mike's life. At any point, he could have a new job that means he's got to move. So this all needs to get taken care of to be PA Pennsylvania reseller's license, get all the accounting set up. I get all that so that this becomes my official job, and get it organized. So having the Black Hole Challenge will be back, because I desperately need an office. There I can lock kittens and brothers out and be uninterrupted. So we'll be on that journey together. We're all going to do that together. And everybody that has that, overstuffed drawer, overstuffed closet, whatever you've got, you can do it too. We'll do it together. This didn't get this way overnight, and it's not going to get fixed overnight, but it's already less than it was when I started the channel. And when I started the channel, it was already less than it was at its peak. So we'll do it together. I see that it is 1:03. I told Michael I would stop at 1 since he's taking me out for something tomorrow. Oh, okay. That's one of the raccoons coming out of the eaves above Michael's bedroom. Mike has my parents' bedroom, which is one of the master bedrooms in the house. And it climbs down the downspout and the trumpet vine, which is right there. And I could hear something metal on the metal, and it's one of them. Now they can't get into where the hole in the ceiling is from the leak, but you can hear them in the ceiling. There's one over top of my bedroom, which the bad part of that means it can get into the attic where stuff is stored. And then, but the one over Mike's room, that's all sealed off. It can't get to anywhere else in the house. So I have a number for animal control, and they apparently are not in the office now until after New Year's. Thank you, City of Chester. So I want them to come trap those 2 raccoons and get those 2 suckers out of there and gone. So there are a lot of plans in the works for my life to get better and change. If I can't do anything about the spine, I can do everything about everything else around me. So I will see you guys like I said, Sunday I do not expect to do a work with me because it is New Year's Day. But I will have a live sale. The first live sale of 2023 will be next Thursday night at 11 o'clock. I don't know yet if that'll be all ephemera or a mix of stuff. I don't know yet because I haven't started pulling anything yet. So there will be a sale then, and I look forward to seeing my night owls then. If you aren't subscribed and like what you see, by all means subscribe. And I just see I didn't even give myself a thumbs up. I need to do that. I have, if you look at the description, I now have memberships for the channel. You get some night owl emojis for the $1.99 a month. For the fairy realm, which is $4.99 a month, you get exclusive videos, you get exclusive lives. You also get all drop sales for 24 hours before they're open to everybody else. By any means, if anybody wants craft ribbon for a super cheap price, like the price starts at 10 cents a yard, and I think the most expensive one is 25 cents a yard, by all means, look for that drop sale of craft ribbon, because that sale's good until that's gone. And some of those spools have 100 yards on them. So if you need craft ribbon, please go find that drop sale video. But I also have, what else do I have on there? I have links for my eBay store, my Etsy store, which is kind of empty right now, but eBay, a bunch of stuff is 30% off. I have an Amazon wish list to help with the kittens if you choose to. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I have the Buy Me a Coffee, which is for my channel. It's called Buy Me a Tea, which goes to help with wherever I need it for. Usually it's been going to feed them, but they've started something new with that. They have wish lists. One wish list is for a gift card to have so that I have emergency backup money to buy them food when I just don't have enough. Because, you know, these sales, even eBay, it's hit or miss. You don't know if this is now my only income. That one wish list is for a gift card so that I can make sure I always have cat food and cat litter for these guys. Because now that the holidays, once the holidays are over, we are still going to go back to trying to get 2 of them adopted out, and get some rescue to come take care of the 2 outdoor ones, at least to get them TNR'd. And the other wish list is for a gift card for like Lowe's, which I live real near one, so that for minor repairs around the house, if I need something and I don't have it, I can just go get it. One of the things I know I need to get is I need to get more plaster, because I've been working on a lot of little holes and cracks and things throughout the house, and I don't have any plaster left. I've used it all up. So that would be for that, if you are so inclined to be so kind to me. But that's everything on there. I don't usually make a pitch for all that stuff, but I realized I had another YouTuber tell me that you need to do that once in a while. So just make it a mental thing that's like at least once a month, you're going to make that pitch for all that stuff on your channel. So there's my one for December. It's all in there. So you guys have a good holiday. Have a good weekend. And I will, if I don't get something filmed before then, I will see you all next Thursday at 11 p.m. We will have another night owl sale. And I don't know when it's going to be, but there will be a sale with me and Flippin' Crazy. So me and myself and Lisa we got to work out the details, but we are determined that in January we are going to have a sale together. I don't know on which channel yet, and I don't know when, but keep an eye out for that. Okay, so have a good night, guys.